Team Tickles. Anything on the bans that is particularly interesting? I see that Batrider still being banned. No, that wasn't a Batrider, was it? Am I blind? I'm blind. There's
a little
no
bit blind, yeah.
It's a relatively early Doom ban.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that stands out to me the most. IO is a good targeted ban against Celery. I think Weaver is top tier right now. And the Invoker against Boom is also less surprising for me than the Doom ban against Nigma Galaxy. I don't know if this is Scrim intel. If it's maybe one of our men's favorite mid heroes, perhaps?
It's also a progression of the DPC so far. Tundra came out swinging with Doom offlane, and then Cool Guys attempted to run it mid. So it's kind of very much the, let's just casually pick Doom, you go Muddish, you go BKB, you just run into the middle of the fight, take away one hero. Like, simplistic Dota, right? So I think it's very much, it might be just the European method developing a little bit more, because Doom isn't being banned out in other regions, for example.
Right.
And then for Nigma Galaxy, we mentioned the whole idea of, have a stand-in. When you round out your draft with a Willow Mars, it's very simple. You're not going to have these fears of like, oh, where are we flexing here? It's just pick a strong offlane duo, enable mind control and GH to have presence, and then most likely, Iron Man on this mid lane, he'll have this Leshrac, this, maybe a DP, this Vipers, any kind of nuisance style hero, and then they'll be pretty comfortable having the stand-in.
I actually think part of the Mars pick is that I think Armin maybe plays at mid. For some reason that comes to mind for me as a hero that Armin has played in that role. So maybe a little bit of a flex in that regard that, again, when you do have a stand-in player playing on a role, if you can flex one or two heroes that they play, it helps a lot with the second phase of picks, because you suddenly have options that you wouldn't otherwise, where you can be like, okay, who's the integral core of the game? Are we going to put it offlane or mid, etc., etc. So, okay, we're going to see the Tide picked up by Team Tickles, and they're obviously banning for it. They'll ban out the Ursa, also banning out Batrider, targeting RMN, most likely, so that one's gone. Have done their research on that account. It's also kind of common knowledge at this point that that is his single best core hero. And also, you're playing against mind control. There's a possibility of some switch arounds with that too, that you could put lanes differently. No need to worry about it. Although, when's the last time we saw Bat not mid? I feel like that's almost the only position gets played nowadays, which is a little bit of a shame, because I actually really liked the patches when Batrider had multiple roles. There was even a patch where Bat got played 4 and 5.
And jungle.
Yeah, you could play Bat almost everywhere, and now it feels like it's been pigeonholed a little bit. So I always find that a little bit of a shame when heroes go from being designed in a way that allows them to play more roles.
But that's also kind of like the idea of when pros get comfortable with one build, they know they can't get that build if it's in a different role. So it's like, I want to play a mid because this is like the optimal, right? When a hero gets completely understood, you just want to force it to where it's best. And yep, Team Tickles, of course, because they're a first pick, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future it's going to be like these first pick Banes, Enchantresses, just give Celery this opening, even like an IO, for example, and then allow yourself to present yourself with more options in the draft. Celery will be the sacrificial lamb within the draft, most likely, for this team.
It is interesting to see Nigma banning out IO. Like, they're generally the team that this hero gets banned against, and sometimes they're willing to let it through for a trade in the first phase because they know everything about this hero and they have one of the best players in the world on it. But they respect Celery and this team's structure with it that much that they're banning it. That says something. Spirit Breaker as well will be sent on the sidelines. Really good hero against Bane, in my opinion. Whenever Fiend's Grip is cast, you have this hero that has infinite range to cancel it. Obviously, does extremely well with Bulldoze against these two heroes. They're very stun reliant, and you have insane status resistance. And it's just been becoming more and more prevalent. So, seems like a stable ban if you don't have anything that you must get rid of. And maybe also a little bit of a clue to what they're thinking next here.
I think right now, Team Tickles need to be careful of Nigma Galaxy picking Morphling at the end of this second phase. The idea that you have this carry that cannot be pressured by this offlane Tidehunter. Right now, if you think about Tofu's hero pool, some Morana-esque 4 isn't really going to give that pressure to stop Morphling from farming. So yeah, right now, what's it going to be? Just Undying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
An Undying Shadow Fiend.
Okay. This is some very heavy 5-man potential that Team Tickles are bringing to the table here.
Is Bane the 4 here in this scenario? Like Undying Shadow Fiend safe lane, Bane 4, go
possibly
for like the Aetherlens Ags build?
It could be an Undying 3 as well. I actually, and then Tide support. I wouldn't mind that if the matchups are right here. Obviously, it might look a little bit weak to have Undying and Tide together because, there are certain carries or certain supports that deal very well with playing against double melee strength in lane. But you don't have to do that here as Team Tickles. You could put the Bane with the Undying in the offlane or put the Bane with the Tide, play Undying 5 with a carry, whatever you want to do. The most important thing here is like the structure of their strategy is very team fight centric. and they do have some decent minus armor if they want to get Roche. They have Gush as well as Presence of the Dark Lord, and Tombstone, and Flesh Golem. So actually a very, very dominant Roche killing team here that I think we're going to see them take advantage of, being that Radiant team.
I think right now for Nigma Galaxy, they need some leaner Viper-esque mid laner that can just push out the wave, not feel too under the pressure of what Shadow Fiend can provide. And also in the bigger team fights, you already have your frontline with Mars, so you just need to have something that either kills off the Tide before he can really have presence, or kill off the Tombstone. So, you know, Lina with the attack speed can kill Tombstone, Viper can kill with Tide. That type of kind of narrative I'm looking at. Wave pushing style hero.
Lina's very good because she doesn't want heroes to get up close and personal. And, well, Tickles don't really have any of those.
They have one...
Undying, it's a bit of a stretch, but...
Okay, they just go for the Luna, of course, yeah. Luna, a classic matchup to Tidehunter. If it is some kind of weird flex Undying off lane, Luna will fare pretty well again because, of course, your beam, your ability to deal with tanky heroes is pretty strong, and Disruptor's a very potent 5 for being able to bully out as well. You pair the Thunderstrike with the Luna Blessing of the Luna, and you can just right-click them out of the lane.
She's also a good solution to zombies, right? So the Moonglaves are pretty good. You have a hero that naturally builds BKB and maybe gets some attack speed so she can take care of the Tombstone if necessary. But it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because your ulti can also be a bit tricky to use into Tomb, so you got to be a little bit careful with how you select your fights. What this carry pick says to me for Nigma Galaxy is that they want to be able to match in teamfight. You could have taken a different approach here where you would go for more of a split push style carry like Anti-Mage because the enemy team's catch is literally Bane. But you are committing to this teamfight direction, which either says something about their read on the patch or about how they want to address the Team Tickles lineup. A lot of the times when you see these heavy 5-man Shadow Fiend lineups, teams don't necessarily choose to fight into it because it can be very scary. But Kuroki and the boys are not scared to fight today. So going to be very, very curious to see what their last pick is here. We don't think it's any of these heroes is mid, right? Like, I would not put Mars mid against Shadow Fiend. I think that's a death sentence. You don't do that. So, still looking at the Lina as a potential pick that could be getting banned here. Tickles getting rid of Viper. I think that's also one of our men's... actually, when we were talking about his heroes pre-game, that was one of the heroes we forgot. He does play Viper quite a bit. So, another targeted ban, I would say. It's also good against Tide, so...
It's a Darkseer that they end up banning out, so perhaps still having that Mars potentially in the mind for mid.
I think that right now they're just using their 2 bans because they identified that RMN is getting the final pick in the entire draft, and because they have that potential ability to flex, and maybe Shadow Fiend and Team Tickle's eyes, it could be their safe lane, right? We've seen that within the European meta as well. It could be some Undying Shadow Fiend safe lane, boom, just get some casual Spirit hero here, and they try and go quick BKB, group together, gush the Roshan, get Aegis, bang, end the game type of style.
Definitely
and they go for a Kunkka, which we've seen in the carry as well. So they're flexing the Shadow Fiend and Kunkka to the very end.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not giving away key information here. It's hard to pick a hero that's good against both of these heroes, man. There's like... Even Lina isn't that great, but it might still be one of the best.
Ooh.
Oh.
Little RMN Dazzle
That's
situation.
an RMN hero.
That is.
That is RMN mid, probably.
There we go.
He does play Dazzle.
Yeah.
I don't know how this hero does against Shadow Fiend. It can't be that good.
Okay,
I just don't see it.
Lane aside, though, I think when you look at Team Tickle's lineup, they needed that assistance in lockdown to be able to take continued fights. Kunkka, of course. You buy Armlet BKB, you're tanky, you never die. You have X, you can always take the fights you want. Nigma Galaxy's answer to this was, the lane might not be great for Dazzle, but their ability to match tankiness with the run buff, with the ability of Tide, Undying, Kunkka naturally just being annoying, Dazzle could help offset that. Because if you look at the damage right now, it's a Requiem, a Ravage, like, you know, that's it, right? Maybe a Flesh Golem hit. Like, it's very slow, right-click. They need to draw out a long fight. So Dazzle, technically, in theory,
might rush
could
Greaves.
destroy this,
Possibly something like that, and you just double down on the team fight. It's honestly a pretty interesting choice, and it's one that Nigma would have never gone for with Miracle, right? It's just, they're adapting to the circumstances, which is great to see. They're not like brute forcing strategies that Armin isn't comfortable with. I see it. I think both strategies are good. If I had to pick a slight favorite in a draft, it's probably Tickles, but yeah, it's by a small margin.
Sorry, I was distracted by our commentary duo. But I won't be, well, I will be distracted by them the whole cast, I would imagine. It's going to be a fun one. So I hope you're ready for this game 1, Team Tickles versus Nigma Galaxy.
Brought to you by Clown and Clown 2.
Seems like it. Odie Pixel Jenkins. Let's go.
Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Team Tickles versus Nigma Galaxy. I'm Pixel here with Jenkins. We're looking forward to this one. We're going to get a lot of fun. We're getting an RMN DAZZLE to finish off the action. And on the other side, we're getting a Boom SF and a Duraccio Kunkka. A lot of exciting stuff, Jenkins.
Yeah, these are cool drafts.
Who's going to take it? What'd you like?
Oh, God. Well, the Carry SF and Carry Kunkka, two very popular things in European pubs.
What do you prefer?
I guess the question is, like, do we prefer the crazy DAZZLE mid or the crazy Kunkka safe lane? And I feel like both teams have a lot of team fight. Both teams have strange heroes. I mean, probably the DAZZLE mid because you have a more traditional carry. I think the Luna, you'd prefer to have the your stand-in playing something that they're comfortable with on mid that's a little strange as opposed to. But I mean, the thing is, with these crazy drafts, it's it can always work. That's probably why Team Tickles picked it in this game. It's they're against Nigma. It's going to be a hard game, of course. Excellent team, so spice it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, already looking for some action here off the back of a smoke. Team Tickles, they're ready to hover around this bounty route. We'll see if Nigma Galaxy fall for this. Looks like they're not setting anyone up quite yet.
Even committing the ward for that as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they want rune vision anyway. It's a bit of high ground vision as well, so it's not a bad ward.
I mean, will they get anyone here? Gee, I mean, Nigma Galaxy, they're playing it careful.
It looks like they are standing in the right place to get ILTW. Oh, he's going the long way, actually.
That's smart.
Bit of a read, but I do feel like if you're a support, you probably walk right up this hill. If you're Kuro, you're just I'm gonna get back to lane, help my carry as soon as possible. We'll see though.
Well, they're playing careful here.
Patient.
They're not falling for this. And yeah, they'll just settle for the 2 runes themselves down here. Won't be anything that Duraccio can do about this. So with the 2 for 2.
Oh, they're not gonna wait up there for Kuro. Okay.
Now I get the runes, get to lanes, and we'll see how some of these matchups go. I mean, as these sort of things go for the mid lane DAZZLE, how do things go against an SF? Is Boom going to care about this mid DAZZLE at all?
You know, this is definitely one that can go either way. If you get a bunch of right clicks on the SF as DAZZLE, you will kill SF, especially if you can get into that raise range. But also the triple raise from Boom can definitely kill a DAZZLE. This is so much damage already.
It is.
He's going to go for a 3rd raise, I think.
Can he go for the kill?
Maybe.
Oh,
tried.
He gets to one of them. I mean, you see exactly that damage amp up there. If he had hit both of those, that would have been a kill for sure. We'll see elsewhere. RTW's courier going down. Did have some backup tangos out on its way for him, and that is actually going to leave that. Okay, no, Kuroki's got plenty of regen for the lane, so RTW will be able to farm just fine up there for now. Got to keep our eyes on this mid though, as we're seeing a Boom. He's out for action, and RMN's got to be prepared. So look at these side lanes. I mean, how's life going to be for the safe lane Kunkka down here for Team Tickles? I think Draccio's going to be just fine against Mind Control and GH?
Yeah, you're tanky. Both of these heroes are tanky. It's pretty difficult playing Mars Willow versus any hero that has a lot of HP, just because you do this set amount of burst damage and then you don't really have much other than right clicks after that. So Undying, if he walks in and dies, he doesn't really care that much, and you're not killing a Kunkka. They're fine to farm down here.
We'll see in the mid lane matchup. Looking pretty good for Boom so far. 10 for 2 against the 5 for 0. Got a decent lead here against RMN. Top lane Ace, he's probably dead. They've caught him in the kinetic field, and he'll go down. First blood for RTW and Kuroki as they take out the Tide. I mean, was said during the draft was going to be one of those lane matchups where Luna's going to be feeling pretty comfortable laning against the Tide. And kills like that are definitely going to make things very nice for RTW player on the safe lane.
Yeah, that was just a really nice call from Nigma Galaxy. They got level 2 first on their heroes. They saw that the wave was pushing, and so they're like, okay, well, let's take this damage advantage that we clearly have right now and just try to translate it into a kill, because otherwise we're just pushing this massive wave of XP into the tower. So get something from it, also lets them pull the lane back. Pretty nice.
We'll see, sort of from the mid as well, what's RMN's job going to be as the mid does? He's still what builds up the mech, and he's looking to buff up the team and be that sort of big presence of the mid game pushing?
Yeah, probably. I mean, between the other heroes on Nigma Galaxy, they have a decent amount of pick off and team fight and all of that sort of stuff. So I feel like just something to sustain, get some levels in the Luna aura, and then run at towers and 5-man with the Mars ulti and the Dazzle heal. I think that's a pretty solid way to go with this game.
Obviously, there were nice moves from GH. Was able to make sure that Boom wasn't allowed to step up and take that bounty away from Nigma Galaxy. Let's give it a bit of space actually for Iron Man in the mid, so he's keeping it pretty close to the CS. Iron Man catching up. We'll see down bottom, they'll drop the tombstone, but already mind control out of harm's way. They're unlikely to get the catch and the setup onto him.
This is cool. I love that tombstone. You think like, oh, well, he wasted it. Like, why would he just use it here? It's literally just a zone from the creeps that were dying to the tower. Like, they're literally just playing for every little lane advantage that they can get. And now it's dying. Maybe we go for the deny. Gets a deny.
I see GH. He did step back up. Head into the Shadow Realm. Able to close a bit of the gap there with the X mark. Not enough to finish him off, though. GH is out. Some very early aggression here from the two of them. Down bottom. Top lane, how are things going? Ace is CS. Still top of the board here. 25 last hits, even though he goes down. And RTW, out of all the cores, is actually struggling the most on the last hits in this laning stage, despite getting that early kill.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trading kills for the fact that they're going to be losing CS. TP in, GH.
Tofu will go down to the Thunder Strike. See if they can set up onto Ace as well. It's going to be hard. Kuroki has not got anything else to offer up here, so Ace will manage to walk away from this one.
You know, I was thinking GH TPing there maybe is a bit awkward. Oh, Boom. He's got a lot of
he's
stacks on him.
Yeah, Iron Man kept the hits going. And he's going to turn with the raises. Tofu's in with the TP. Iron Man, can he finish off this kill? Boom. He is going to be fine with the bold charges there between the ticks of damage. He'll live. And a nice TP from Tofu makes sure that Iron Man does not.
Yeah, the problem with chasing SF with this theoretical Dazzle mid is that, yeah, you know, you have this huge amount of damage over time coming out from the Poison Touch on Dazzle, but the longer and longer you chase the SF, the more time his raises have to come off the cooldown. He's just hitting these like constant 3-stack raises on you, and it's difficult to trade into with almost anything. Like, SF is actually a pretty good hero at taking these long fights.
Obviously back in action on the top lane. Actually bottom as well. Celery and Duraccio going for the chase onto Mind Control. Torrent will connect.
Just clipped him.
This should be a dead Mars unless Mind Control can do something nice with the spear. Will manage to knock back the Kunkka, but already the X marks there with the setup. Dragged back, it'll be a slow but sure death here for Mind Control as Duraccio chops him down. Back over towards the mid. Aggression over towards Boom. TP backup is coming in. This time they'll get the kill, and by the looks of it, they'll be able to get out. Iron Man and GH off to the side. They're even thinking about going back in onto Celery. The Celery's got to be a bit cautious. Poison Touch is at the ready. Iron Man's in. They're ready to dive in onto the Undying. See how aggressive they want to go for this. GH starting to tank the tower hits. There's the Grave to keep him alive, and Iron Man's keeping that Poison Touch going. A quick heal there for Celery to try and save himself, but that's a 3 levels in the Poison Touch. He should die. We'll be able to get the deny off to the neutrals. Back over towards the mid. Tofu, quick brain sap, kills off GH. He ends up going down.
The boy, he trades his life to save his mid. Dazzle was surely dead there if he doesn't take that Nightmare off. That pure damage. What level of Nightmare is that? That's level 2 Nightmare. So yeah, 100% dead if he doesn't take the Nightmare off. So he sacks his own life.
Iron Man does still have to be a little cautious around this mid. You saw Tofu hastering at the ready, clarity up. He's going to have a spell or two to throw out. He's going to head in. Nightmare setups there. That'll buy time for Boom to step up. Couple of raises, but the Grave's out in time. Iron Man with the turnaround. Quick touch onto Tofu. They get the kill, and Iron Man's able to get out of there. Not quite able to burst him quick enough with the quick fingers on the Grave.
I like that GH is putting so much pressure on mid, because if you think about the lane that he's leaving, it's a Mars who... He's playing against Undying Kunkka. We saw that long kill that was happening on the bot lane. Like, it took a lot to kill him. Celery had to do these, like, crazy body blocks. It was the slowest thing ever. You know, this bottom lane, Mind Control's honestly totally cool being down here. He's gonna do fine. He's not supposed to die down here, really. Maybe get pressured a bit, but whatever. So GH can be here, and it's an SF mid. Like, the classic way to deal with SF is just... You just kill him over and over again.
See bottom. Actually gonna hit the setup with Iron Man making the rotation. Boat comes out, but not soon enough to do anything to help keep Duraccio alive. As not only having a good time picking up the farm, but Mind Control getting some action down bottom. See Tofu trying to see if he can get some sort of setup onto Kuroki. It's not going to be the case. Ace is going to hit 6 off these creeps, so Ravage at the ready.
ILTW, just jungling. He's got the max aura. Yeah, just get out. Give Kuroki the lane. We've got 2 supports taking the lane, although RMN is back mid now, but GH got a little bit of space there. He's now level 5. You're pretty happy being level 5 at 8 minutes on a Dark Willow 4.
Oh, see Dracho, Armlet in the boots.
Oh, the smoke. Back to the Kunkka.
See how easily they can do this. He'll have boat up pretty soon, and he does have the Armlet complete. So Armlet with the run buff, he will be very tanky. Yeah, still 20 seconds until the ult. Himself underneath the tower, they won't be able to get the grab, so no chance to dive in on this. It will be a move wasted there, unfortunately, for Nigma Galaxy, as RMN can't get involved in any action there.
I think that smoke was right on that ward, so they knew that was coming.
I see top. I'll dive in for Kuroki. Not quite enough hits there from Tofu to take him down, though, as Kuro's able to step back. Ace not wanting to use the Ravage there for nice supports. GH hits him with the Shadow Realm, takes out Tofu, and he'll be able to back off there. As Team Tickles not wanting to throw out the ultimates there for those two does mean they don't get the kill and they lose someone on themselves.
That was a pretty cool Bramble maze. You could see that Tofu had a bit of a false sense of security when the Bramble came out, and he saw that it was like positioned all the way towards the right. It's like, oh, I'm fine, I can just keep running here, like he missed it. And then he walks into like the side one, because usually you see the Bramble maze, you place it so that the hero that gets hits in the center of it. So a bit of mind games there, which is cool.
I see bottom. I've got the setup onto mind control, but backup's on its way. RMN in with the poison touch. The Grave down, of course, spawning up those zombies. Big hit with the Tidebringer. Mind Controller has to head back. He'll manage to get himself away. Doesn't end up going down. Dracho, of course, still ticking out of the poison touch. A quick heal from Celery will give him an extra chance to step out of there. But can he Armlet toggle his way through the touch instances? He can. Nicely done there by Dracho as he's able to avoid death to the poison touch.
Nice rotation from ILTW. I really like this. This is a common thing that I'm seeing a lot of replay, especially in the European region with Luna, is just maxing out that Lunar Blessing. And sure, you can go jungle with this because it does give you damage. You go some early points in Moonglaves, but also you just show up and give your team bonus damage. So you can kind of 5-man with this while also split farming. It's a nice way to play the hero for the current pace of how people play Dota.
Oh, there we are. And certainly seeing already, Nigma Galaxy forcing a lot of action. Mid lane boom. Ace Rune at the ready, he's fine. A lot of space up top being given to Ace as he's starting to heavily pressure the tier 1 tower. Looks like Nigma Galaxy have just opted to completely leave that area of the map, not wanting to mess around with the threat of the Tide and his Ravage.
Yeah, he's huge. And the way that Nigma Galaxy wants to get kills right now is using the Dazzle and the fact that he has max in the Poison Touch. So that's like the biggest damage source right now for them. And Tidehunter is not going to die to that because he would literally just crack and shell it off. So currently, Ace feels like completely untouchable, and I would expect these guys on Team Tickles to try to push that to its limit, you know, send him mid, like get the mid tower. I think they can snowball pretty hard soon.
I'm going to see Tofu, spot a bother hit. No attempt at saving himself with Nightmare was going to get him out of that one as he goes down. And the jungle opens up again for RTW to continue to clean it up. Bottom lane, quick moves here from Nigma Galaxy as they've got their eyes on Dyrachyo, but he knows it. He's keeping himself close to the tower. See if Mind Control can find any sort of setup. RMN's ready in the trees. They've got to find the arena catch if they want to have any chance of getting him. And Dyrachyo, he's just not letting it happen. He's playing it safe.
Yeah, there's the rotation to the mid lane. This is what I meant for the Tidehunter, like what I expected him to do. He knows his strength right now and that Dazzle's not going to be able to kill him. They need probably the Luna ult with some beams or every other hero spell in the book to kill him. So Nigma Galaxy know this as well. They just avoid him. They just say, we're not even going to run to this Tide. We're just going to push the bot tower instead.
Oh yeah, they're starting to get some control of the enemy triangle here, knowing that this will be a key area of the map that RTW will be looking to keep his farm up from. Taking these early objectives and ready with the smoke to wrap around and maybe pincer in Nigma Galaxy down here on this bottom half. See what sort of setup they can find. They're going to look to open up onto RMN. Goes for a preemptive grave to save him a little bit from this early onset. The pushback for the fear only catching onto the Bane. Ace, he's able to step and get a fantastic Ravage off in the middle of Nigma Galaxy. And they brought 2 down. Mind Control's going to look to try and turn with the arena. Catches them all. The damage is not quite there to get any of the kills. Celery's able to step out. Mind Control's dragged back. A third hero down, and they're ready to dive. Fantastic Nightmare and Fiend Script control there for Tofu. Locks the two of them down. ILTW's gone. GH as well. As Team Tickles, they are moving around the map phenomenally. This is going to be another Tier 1 tower taken down from them off the back of full team wipe there. 5 kills, all going the way of Team Tickles. They're turning up the heat, and they're looking like they've got a pretty clear game plan here that Nigma Galaxy are starting to struggle to deal with.
And worst of all, RMN, the mid of Nigma Galaxy, buys back during that fight. TP's in, realizes that because of those dives, because of that wraparound from Tofu, he couldn't continue the TP. He canceled it. So he just slowly walked out of base, like, guys, I'm coming, but please don't die. And they all died.
And that hurts a lot, especially when he's playing this mid Dazzle that's going for the Midas. You know, slowing down that Midas timing, that's going to be quite the trip up there for RMN's game. As things will slow down, and already 13 minutes in, Team Tickles up 5K.
Yeah, and the thing with Tidehunter is that, you know, we talk about how you can just run at towers, and since your only kill threat is Dazzle, he's not really going to die at the moment. It's like the more and more items he gets, the longer of a window of opportunity you have for that to be a factor. And so, like, a crazy fight like that just means, like, even more snowball potential.
Now see mid, good grab on Straccio. Straight back into the static storm, Straccio goes down. TP's coming in. See if Nigma Galaxy can get the kill and get out. In fact, they're still poking at Team Tickles with a poison touch from RMN coming out to the 3 of them. ILTW and GH running down Celery over towards the side, and they'll take him out. That's going to be the Undying gone, Tombstone as well. More money here for Nigma Galaxy, and they're going to see if they can maybe get the Tide too. Doesn't look like they can. No control for Ace. So Ace gets back, but a good punch back from Nigma Galaxy will secure them the chance to get some damage done to the Tier 1 mid.
A great smoke, just knowing that the Ravage is on cooldown and abusing that. Perfect hero to pick off first, the Kunkka, then you don't get that run buff.
I mean, Ace is...
Boom?
He's trying to get the ult off, but he's been caught by the spear. So if they've got the damage to take him out, another attempt at the ult, but the Lucid Beam will put a stop to it. He can't get it off. They finish him off with the God's Rebuke. Ace stepping in, looking for RTW. The Ravage is out, but where is the follow-up? There isn't any at all. Ace, he got the Ravage off, but he might pay with his life as they chase him out. Ace, one more hit will take him down. There it is, mind control with a spear to the back. Shoots down Ace. As Nigma Galaxy, they're back in the game.
Yeah, that was I mean, that Ravage was a big mistake, I think. This means Nigma Galaxy can just right into Roche, because we saw what they did with the Ravage being on cooldown the first time, and now it's not 30 seconds on Ravage, it's 2 minutes.
And look at this Nigma Galaxy there. They're ready for some more kills. They are. In onto Celery. Straccio tries to offer up some help with the torrent onto ILTW, but ILTW's not needed. GH taking out Celery on his own. Mind control finishes off Tofu. There's going to be a buyback coming out from Tofu. They really want to try and make this fight happen here, Team Tickles, but they don't have the Ravage. They're missing some key components. Can they get any kills out of this? Mind control. He's in with the arena. He's caught the 3 of them. The Grave comes out in time from RMN. This time they get the Requiem off. Mind control should surely die here. He's trying to run. I think they don't have the last bit of damage. He's actually going to live. Mind control is able to get away. Straccio goes down. Ace with the Gush on Kuroki will at least find the Disruptor. They've got the Nightmare set up onto ILTW, but with the pig pole, ILTW is heading away. Invis Rune at the ready. He'll be able to get himself sneaked away into the shadows. As they only lose the Disruptor. They get Straccio, and the game continues to be in a position where Team Tickles, they can't go for the Roche themselves.
Yeah, great saves from RMN, saving...
Yeah, I can't believe Mind Control didn't go down there.
Yeah, it was very close. Also, the positioning from the entire team of Nigma Galaxy. I mean, other than ILTW, obviously, who could not get into the fight.
I mean, look at just how much Mind Control tanks because of that Grave.
Yeah, that was huge. They're also playing from the high ground. A lot of Team Tickles was playing towards the low ground, especially Boom. So, really, the Boom is seeming like the big source of damage here for Tickles. And if he's not able to get into the fight because of, you know, an arena like that, then they don't really have the damage to kill anybody. Kunkka's kind of a tank. Tide's definitely a tank. Undying's a tank. Bane, he's a disable. It's really all about Boom on SF, getting in there and doing that damage, but it's hard without the BKB. We saw how hard it was for him to get his Requiem off a couple of fights back, where they just kept interrupting it with small things like Lucent Beam, Glimpse. His BKB is going to be a huge timing for Team Tickles.
Now we'll see if they can get that dream sort of team fight combo off. The Ravage and the Requiem, the boat for Straccio, they've got fantastic combo. Same to be said though for Nigma Galaxy, of course, as we've been seeing, the The arena paired up nicely with a good fear from GH can be equally as disruptive as what Team Tickles have to offer. And Team Tickles, they're going for the Roshan. Ults at the ready on both sides. Could see quite the clash here if Nigma Galaxy can get here in time, but Roche is falling fast. And it doesn't look like they will. Team Tickles, they'll be able to take this without interruption. Aegis on boot.
I can understand that call from them to just, like, literally run into Roche, because when you fight 2 or 3 times without Ravage like that because it was on cooldown or because you whiffed it and there was some crazy stuff that happened in the fight and so you use it like really late, you just get to a point where it's like, let's just go fight with Ravage. How do we get them to fight us? You run out a tower, or more importantly, you run out Roshan. And Nigma Galaxy, I also like the call to just not fight Roche. It's one of the harder calls to make, and you really only see this with like absolute tier 1 teams, because you feel that Roche anxiety of like, if we give them an Aegis, they're just going to snowball the map and then choke us out. But Nigma Galaxy is like, we're not going to fight into this Ravage. Like, wait until we have our BKBs, then we'll fight. What does an Aegis really do for them? Which hero on Team Tickles is going to push high ground? Not a single one of them, right? None of them are pushing heroes. SF is your best pushing hero. So there's no threat that the game is going to end in this next Aegis. So just don't fight it. Don't fight into the Ravage before you have BKB.
They're doing their best to avoid any sort of altercation here. Nigma Galaxy. Team Tickles start to head up to the top side of the map, work towards this tier 2. To have mind control hovering around the tree line, but definitely think twice before trying to start any action if Team Tickles come in with a 5-man push here around that Aegis BKB on SF.
Yeah, the mode that Nigma's in right now is just evasive. If some nice opportunity presents itself, maybe mind control will go for it and people will TP in. But for the most part, it's just like clear the wave, play safe, avoid them until the next Aegis, and delay until Nigma gets BKB on my... Oh, never mind. Oh, I lied.
All right,
okay.
They want to go for this. Let's see what mind control can find. They're going to look to set up on a Boom. Boom. He's going to get spit back. The Nightmare's going to give Boom the chance to fight back those. Caught in the Static Storm. Arena of Fear there. Ace has been silenced. Can he get anything off? He's stepping back in. The Static Storm comes to an end. He'll pop the Ravage. It catches RMN. That's the mid going down. Dazzle out. As the rest of Nigma Galaxy desperately trying to get themselves back up to the high ground. But see, Draccio can get a further catch. He's found ILTW. X mark on the Luna. See what they can drag him back into the Requiem. Doesn't do too much damage there as they caught right on the edge of it. Celery is now up on the high ground. Some pretty deep aggression. Nightmare from Tofu sets up onto Mind Control. Mind Control jumped in for this.
Wow.
But he jumps into his own death. As the rest of Nigma Galaxy will live, but it's 2 down. As, I mean, it looked so good, Jenkins. It looked like they weren't going to do exactly what they just did. They were playing out on the map. They decide to take the fight. It ends terribly. They're now taking damage on the high ground.
It looked like a really cool call from Nigma Galaxy. Like, you, as Team Tickles, you don't expect that, right? So maybe your SF gets picked off there at the start and loses Aegis, but Tofu, man, with the Nightmare saves, like, he just knows. He's just reading this.
He's had a great game so far, Tofu. I mean, GH is trying to get in onto Draccio, but it's not enough damage. GH loses his life for it. The Tombstone's up. Kuro is trying to take it down. They've got the Nightmare set up into the boat. ILTW is in trouble. ILTW gets blown up, out of the game for 50. No buyback on the Luna. Team Tickles, they're going to keep the push going. This top rack sits in jeopardy.
This is like the highest impact that I've seen from a Bane in a very long time. And I think the hero is excellent and usually has impact. But the Nightmare saves, the setups, the Nightmare and then Fiend's Grip on one target, bottom lane, like all of these moments have been so crucial for Team Tickles in getting to the point that they're at in this game. And it's all set up from their position 5, who obviously has the least net worth on his team. It's just absolutely beautiful Bane play coming out from Tofu.
Yeah, it's really messing with Nigma Galaxy. They're struggling with that sort of control. And that decision to take the fight at the tier 2's cost them heavily. They lose the tier 2, they lose the tier 3, they lose the full set of barracks. As now Team Tickles up 8k. As Nigma Galaxy, they can't afford to make any more of those mistakes. Otherwise, they'll be in a position likely to lose a second set of racks, maybe even more, with the momentum that Team Tickles is gathering.
It is one of those calls that they make where, you know, if that was successful, that call to defend that tier 2 tower, that's what we would be pointing at for this is what differentiates a tier 1 team from a tier 2 team. Like, this is what makes Nigma Galaxy one of the best teams in the world, is making a call like that. But it just was wrong. Like, Team Tickles had the read on it, and you know what can you do? It's just unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, they were close to so many things, sort of. You know, they get the setup, the catch, on the SF, but time's brought from the Nightmare. They locked down the type of the static zone, but they didn't quite have enough damage to kill him before he gets the
Ravage off on the Dazzle, which is the most important hero, zones everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an amazing team fight from Tickles.
We'll see what sort of setup we're going to have next as Team Tickles eyeing up the tier 2 in the mid. Nigma Galaxy did not have a great time up top. See if they want to try again for anything here. For the time being, they have got Mind Control and ILTW elsewhere, trying to keep their farm strong. RMN will have to deal with the top lane, working on his own BKB, making sure that he can fight against the threat of the Ravage. So they'll let the tower go. See Team Tickles still working towards that bottom lane, clearing out these outer towers. Roshan potentially up in a couple of minutes. It's going to be very difficult if Nigma Galaxy aren't able to stop Team Tickles from taking that. Full ags done on Ace.
And Boom now has the presence or affects buildings talent, so we talked about how they don't really have building damage, and that was more in the early game. Now that they're getting to the late game, SF is one of the best heroes at just whacking buildings, especially if he has an Aegis. So you can't avoid Team Tickles forever now. You're going to have to fight.
We can see Team Tickles on the hunt, smoked up, charging towards the top lane. Nigma Galaxy, no. They're into the trees. RTW's got to be careful how he plays on the edge of the vision here. Torrent not quite finding him, so he'll manage to make it back up to base. They're still hunting in the trees. Mind Control is still around. No TP for 10 seconds. Tofu.
Oh, man.
It's one tree between the two of them. I mean, that could have... could have been one of the bigger tumblatory plays you would have seen if that would have got him closing the gap, but wasn't to be. Mind Control will make it away.
You know, the funny thing, too, is if that high ground ward was placed just a little bit to the left, maybe...
yeah.
Because you usually see it placed towards the left, but they knew that Nigma was going to be running back towards their base, so they're like, all right, let's put it to the right. Maybe we'll catch somebody like trying to make their way through the trees, but Mind Control, he went the opposite way.
Nigma Galaxy keeping everybody alive. BKB's on track to be ready for the next fight. Mind Control very close to his. RMN just a few hundred gold further away.
This is the point where if you're Tickles, you probably want to put down some lane wards where you can see like ILTW sneaking out like this, because he did walk through where there could have been vision if there's a lane ward. Right now they have high ground like defensive wards, but Nigma is just 100% in the game of cat and mouse. They're the mice. Like they're just running away, and they're trying to sneak by, and that's what you want to catch right now.
Very carefully pushing out this bottom lane. ILTW's already out.
I love this. Tofu's setting up. Oh, GH though, he suspects it.
And he'll make it out. I'll get this bottom wave pushed in. And still got their eyes set on the tier 2 bottom Team Tickles. And Nigma Galaxy, I mean, again, just being so incredibly careful at this moment in the game. They'll have one hero, two heroes push out together. Everybody else waiting together in the base. Just making sure that there's no chance of being caught out. Things are going to get scarier now. Duracio's AC complete. More minus armor being kicked out around this Tide and SF. The physical's going to hurt Nigma Galaxy.
Yeah, really, SF has all the damage you need. I mean, I like the... Oh, actually, they're walking up to the high ground here.
Kuro, he's looking pretty dead. I don't know how much... Whoa!
Oh, okay. Speaking of damage.
All right, boom.
All right. My boy.
That was a disruptor there, I promise you.
Yeah.
But Kuro disappears.
There are some situations in Dota where...
Oh, this ward is going to get them some action.
This would be the best action. The best possible action.
It's RTW. He's going to be caught by surprise there. Tofu just stepping up and getting the grip with the vision they have.
Okay. Not bad. Yeah, that is the literal best hero to be finding, hiding in a corner, is the one hero that could possibly carry this game on Nigma.
And I guess, again, it was sort of the Well, this time the positioning got them the kill, right? Because if it was further to the left and it got them the kill earlier on mind control,
They
then
would know that
would
the
have
ward
known.
was there.
But
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it is in that, is it shifted to the right position?
That is true. Look at this poor soul. No, no, my boy. Oh,
That's yeah, interesting. There, I mean, you can explain how that works. So the red number said 630, but I'm pretty sure it had 800 HP. So I guess the number is before minus armor's taken into account.
So that was a silver edge hit, and so I think that
the bonus isn't
the bonus damage would not be applied to that.
Yes, very smart. I guess yeah.
I think don't.
I know. I think you're right.
Bet my life on
I
it,
don't
but-
think the red number takes into account the bonus from the hit from the silver edge. Actually, had it well. Yeah.
I don't know if it takes in the bonus from minus armor. I'm pretty
Well,
sure it
maybe
doesn't. I'm
it's
pretty
either
sure.
that. It's not. Yeah. Which way the numbers work. I mean, no, you don't really take note of the red numbers normally. You just know if you see a red number, you're doing
it's a
something
big
right. You have a
number.
good
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
It's a good hit.
Well, I have seen Sniper Crystallis Rush do 150 crits with that Crystallis.
Oh, that's
so
a little
it's,
underwhelming. Yeah.
it's a little underwhelming if you're doing Sniper Crystallis Rush. But in this case, that was, there was a disruptor there a few moments.
That's why I rush Basher on Sniper.
That is so reasonable. You should let Kuroki know. That's a really good strat.
There we go, Kuroki, ready to lead the charge here for Nigma Galaxy. They may be down 15k, but they know the only way back into this is coming out with a big surprise move. See if they can catch Team Tickles with it. It's not going to be easy. Aegis still on boom, and Team Tickles, they're smoked up themselves.
Let's see, AC plus Presence Aura. What is the tower armor at? It has 4 armor. Minus 12 armor. This thing is paper.
Yeah, it's getting shredded here. I mean, they got to do something. Boom, just standing there, taking the barracks. Jump forward from Mind Control. We'll get the spear back. Instant grip from Tofu. Catches Mind Control on the jump. The Grave will come out, but Mind Control, he's already far too low. Punt the BKB, does get the arena off, but as the Grave comes to an end, so does his life. The Fear pushes back the Undying, but on the front lines, Dracho and Boomer stepping in with the BKBs. Kuro caught out by the Gust from Ace, as it's 2 dead on Nigma Galaxy. Team Tickles, they'll take the bottom racks, and they're going to be more than happy to stick around for more. Fortification comes out from Nigma Galaxy. Boom steps up. A preemptive Grave will keep RMN alive for now, but the bottom racks are gone. Team Tickles continuing on this road to what looks to be a pretty sure victory here in game 1. ILTW is ready for the YOLO plays. He's picked up a Blink Dagger, ready for some sort of Blink Eclipse. He's going to have to wait for Mind Control and Kuroki to be back up. They're going to try for something here. Arman steps up with the BKB, looking towards Boom, but they still are hesitant on getting involved onto this SF and Tide. The 3 of them all incredibly tagged. The Gush comes flying out. Ironman thrown to the side. He has got a buyback, but the racks, they'll be taken. Mega Creeps out for Team Tickles. Nigma Galaxy, they're going to give it one final shot, but the zombies are out. Kuro will be saved by RMN. Mind Control disappears.
Where are they going?
Out, catches RMN. Triple kill for Ace. ILTW surrounded in the trees by Dracho, Celery, and Tofu. He'll pop the Eclipse, but there's not enough damage as ILTW will.
They're giving him the Rampage.
There it is. Ravage. Rampage, in fact, not a Ravage. Well, both. Everything here from